Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that a war happening thousands of miles away is silently shaping your daily life. The price of fuel, the cost of food, even the stability of your future. You might think the Middle East war is just another headline, just another conflict on the news. But what if I told you that this war is directly connected to your wallet, your safety, and even the future of global power? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will completely change the way you see the world. Before we go deeper, if you want more powerful insights like this, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, The Gold Report, so you don't miss the stories that actually matter. Trust me, you'll want to stay informed. Now let's break this down in a way that really makes sense. The Middle East has always been one of the most important regions in the world, not just because of history, not just because of religion, but because of something very simple: energy, oil and gas. These resources power the world: cars, planes, industries, electricity. Everything depends on them. And a huge portion of that energy comes from this one region. So when conflict starts here, it doesn't stay here, it spreads. Think about it like this. The global economy is like a giant machine, and the Middle East is one of its most critical gears. When that gear starts shaking, the whole machine feels it. One of the first impacts you see is oil prices. Whenever tensions rise, oil prices go up. Why? Because supply becomes uncertain. If shipping routes are threatened, if production is disrupted, or even if there's just fear of instability, markets react instantly. And when oil prices rise, everything becomes more expensive. Transportation costs increase, which means food becomes more expensive, goods become more expensive, and inflation starts creeping in. That's why even if you live in the United States or anywhere far from the Middle East, you still feel the impact every single day. But it doesn't stop there. War in the Middle East also affects global alliances. Countries are forced to take sides. Some support one group, others support another. This creates tension between major world powers, and when powerful nations are involved, things can escalate very quickly. You start to see military buildup, economic sanctions, and political pressure. Trade routes can be blocked, international cooperation weakens, and suddenly the world becomes more divided. Now here's something most people don't realize. Modern wars are not just fought with weapons. They are fought with information, economics, and influence. Cyber attacks increase, propaganda spreads, markets become unstable, and fear becomes a tool. And fear is powerful. It changes how people think, how governments act, and how economies move. Another major impact is on global security. When conflict grows in the Middle East, it often leads to instability in nearby regions. This can create safe havens for extremist groups, increase refugee crises, and put pressure on neighboring countries. Millions of people are forced to leave their homes. Families are broken, entire communities disappear, and while the human cost is devastating, the ripple effect reaches far beyond borders. Countries receiving refugees face economic and social pressure. Resources become strained and political tensions rise. And in some cases, this leads to internal conflicts. So again, what started as one regional conflict becomes a global issue. Now let's talk about something even deeper: the economic chain reaction. When war disrupts oil supply, countries start looking for alternatives. This shifts global trade patterns. Some countries benefit, others suffer. Energy importing nations struggle with rising costs, while energy exporting nations may gain short-term advantages. But in the long run, instability hurts everyone. Investors become cautious, markets fluctuate, businesses delay decisions, and economic growth slows down. And here's the scary part. Uncertainty becomes the new normal. When people don't know what's going to happen next, they stop spending, they stop investing, and that slows down the entire global economy. Now think about technology and innovation. You might assume war has nothing to do with that, but actually it does. Governments start focusing more on defense spending instead of development. Money that could have gone into education, healthcare, or innovation gets redirected toward military needs. This slows down progress. And in today's fast-moving world, slowing down even a little can have long-term consequences. Now let's talk about politics. The Middle East war also reshapes political strategies around the world. Leaders use these conflicts to strengthen their position, gain public support, or shift attention away from domestic issues. Media coverage plays a huge role here. What people see, what they hear, and how it's presented can influence public opinion massively. And public opinion drives decisions. This is why understanding the deeper impact of these conflicts is so important. Because what you see on the surface is often just a small part of the story. Now let's bring this closer to you again. Imagine your daily life, your grocery bills, your fuel costs, your job security. All of these are connected to global stability. When something major happens in a critical region like the Middle East, it sends shockwaves through the entire system. And those shockwaves eventually reach you. This is why staying informed is not just important, it's necessary. Because the world today is more connected than ever before. Now here's something interesting. While war creates destruction, it also creates opportunities for certain players. Defense companies see increased demand. Energy companies adjust their strategies. Some nations strengthen their influence, but these gains come at a cost, a human cost. And that's something we should never ignore. As we continue to watch these events unfold, one thing becomes clear. The impact of the Middle East war is not limited by geography. It's global, it's economic, it's political, and it's deeply human. And this is exactly why channels like the Gold Report exist, to break things down, to connect the dots, and to help you understand what's really going on beyond the headlines. Because when you understand the bigger picture, you make better decisions. You see opportunities others miss, and you stay prepared. Now, as we move toward the end, I want you to think about this. What do you think is the biggest impact of these conflicts? Is it the economy, global security, or something else? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them, and I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to share it with someone who needs to understand what's really happening in the world right now. Because awareness is power. And in today's world, that power matters more than ever. Stay informed, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.